Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. There may still be people popping in, but that's perfectly fine. Before we get started on our business meeting today, I'd like to welcome you to the annual meeting of the Center County Historical Society for the year 2023. My name is Mary Sorensen. I'm the Executive Director of the Center County Historical Society. And please note that today's annual meeting materials have been available on our website at centerhistory.org under the tab Who We Are. I'd like to remind you to leave your microphone on mute. If you have any questions throughout the meeting, you can add them to the chat and we'll address them after the business part of the meeting. This is our annual meeting, and as a membership organization, our members are invited to vote. Our marketing and events coordinator, Johanna Sedgwick, will be sharing instructions as the votes come up. We're going to get started first with a call to order and welcome by CCHS President Roger Williams. Roger?
Mary, hello, everybody. I would now like to call the 2023 annual meeting of the Center County Historical Society to order and to welcome you again, everybody. We're delighted to have you with us on this blustery afternoon because you, our valued members, are our very lifeblood. Without your interest, without your support, we simply couldn't exist. So thank you for everything you do to keep us going in our noble work of championing all things historical about Center County. 2023 was a banner year for the Center County Historical Society, as you will hear from Mary in just a bit. But if a historical society ever had a historic year, I would say we just had one in 2023, capped by the completion of our 4-year Center Furnace Mansion restoration project with a fundraising campaign successful enough to cover the entire cost. But you, our members, played the essential role in making the year so historic. So too did an immensely talented and dedicated Board of Governors. They are with us today, and I'd like to introduce them to you. I would ask them if they could to give us a nice big wave on the screen as I call their names. First up, Jackie Esposito, CCHS Vice President and Chair of the Collections Management Committee. Jackie, I can't see you. Is she coming through? Second, Deb McManus. Deb is Secretary and Chair of the Development Committee. Beverly Lipsky. Bev is Treasurer and Chair of the Gardens Committee. Bill Blair. Bill is Ferry Professor Emeritus of American History and Director Emeritus of the Richards Civil War Era Center at Penn State. Bill also serves as a docent at the mansion. Rich Bundy. Rich most recently was Vice President for Development and Alumni Relations at Penn State. And Rich led the most successful fundraising campaign in Penn State history, generating more than $2.2 billion, that's billion with a B, in just 6 years. Ann Molenbrock. Ann is Chair of the Budget and Finance Committee. Alan Popovich. Alan, an architect, is Chair of the Property Committee and provided incredible leadership for our mansion restoration project. Bob Potter. Bob is Chair of our Melander Legacy Gifts Society. Ford Risley. Ford is the Chair of the Communications Committee and co-editor of the Center County Encyclopedia of History and Culture. And Ann Hamilton Taylor. Annie is Chair of the Governance Committee. We also have 2 committee chairs who, while not members of the board, provide essential leadership for us in critical areas. And they are David Pankow, President of Pankow Wealth Management and Chair of our Investment Committee, and Becky Drees. Becky is President of Thrive HR Human Resources Consulting and Chair of our Human Resources Committee. All of us on this incredible Board of Governors stand on the shoulders of those who came before. And by that, I mean our emeriti governors. And today, I'm especially pleased to introduce our newest emeritus governor, Bob Hazelton, who retired from the board in 2023. Bob provided invaluable service over his many years, culminating in the vice presidency and presidency. So, Bob, thank you for your many years of extraordinary service. And Mary, I'm not sure there are any more emeriti governors on this Zoom session or not.
I don't know, Roger. I don't think so. I can't see everyone.
Okay. Well, in any event, that will conclude my introductions. And now I'm turning things back over to Mary Sorensen. Mary?
Thank you, Roger. There will be 4 votes during the business portion of this meeting, and any current member of the Center County Historical Society in attendance may vote. To make a motion or to second a motion, we ask that you unmute to do so and state your name for record keeping. Then to vote, a poll will come up on your screen that you can click on, and Johanna will share the results. And now we'll continue the business meeting with the Secretary's report by Deb McManus.
Thank you, Mary. For all the members, you received a copy of last year's annual meeting minutes in the packet of information. I also want to let you know that if you're curious, there are minutes and a compilation of board resolutions are available. They're not up on the Red's website, but you can request to see any of those. We have those all archived and available for you. So hopefully everybody's had a chance to look at those and we can move forward to accept the minutes from last year.
Okay. Is there a motion to accept the minutes from the 2022 Center County Historical Society Annual Meeting?
I so move.
Who was that?
Jackie.
Jackie. And I think Bob Potter seconded.
Yes.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Any comments, observations, questions? If not, we will then vote using the polling feature that should now come up on your screen. And please signify your vote on the 2022 minutes by a simple yes, no, or abstain. So go right ahead and vote. And after you're done, submit, please. Has everyone voted? Joanna? So we have an 82% acceptance rate, no negative votes whatsoever, but 18% of those present abstained. So the minutes from the 2022 annual meeting have been accepted. And Mary, I think we go back to you.
Thank you, Deb and Roger. The financial report and annual budget reports will be next, first by Beverly Lipsky, who is the CCHS treasurer. And Beverly, would you like to continue?
Yeah, let me unmute. Could you put the first report up, please? Thank you. Okay, so this year the financial report is rather different from what you saw the last couple of years. This is at the request of Roger. What you are seeing is a comparison to our actual financial activity against what we had budgeted for last year. In terms of income, overall, the income exceeded budget by about between 10 and 11%. Your membership committee is doing an excellent job with recruiting and retaining members. Donations in all categories exceeded expectations. Center gives. Now, there are 2 components to this. One is a Center Foundation endowment, which runs about $1,600 every year. We have an endowment with Center Foundation, and they send us income once a year. That's the small piece. The other piece is Center Gives, where everybody goes online during May and makes their contribution, and then it's sent over to us. Now, one thing you should know is that the Center Gives for 2023 does not include $5,796, which were designated for restoration. So we actually did better than what you're seeing in this operating, because the money designated for restoration is not in this operating report. The museum store continued to do very good sales of the Aaronsburg to Zion postcard book and was up well. Unfortunately, our fundraising activity does not quite reach our aspirational budget. We're working on it. Now, what you see with investment income dispersed is that we receive quarterly from our investment accounts. Funds are transferred from the investment account to the operating bank account. It's on a quarterly basis. What you're seeing is 3 quarters for 2023 and then a trailing 2022 disbursement. And then the last 2023 will happen in 2024, has happened in 2024. So we did pretty well with our investment income going into operating. Turning now to expenses, I'm just going to touch on some of the things that are kind of stand out. As you've perhaps noted, the mansion notes have increased in size, which increases the corresponding printing costs from prior years. Advertising was also quite high in 2023. That is a combination of a couple of things. During 2022, we received a Happy Valley Adventure Bureau grant, and we didn't spend it all in 2022. So what you had were expenses that were trailing into 2023. We also received a second Happy Valley Adventure Bureau grant in 2023 that had a $4,000 match requirement that required us to spend our own operating money in support of that grant, for which we were not reimbursed. Okay, skipping down to lawn care. Well, it rained last year, and when it rains, the grass grows, and when the grass grows, it has to be cut. So that's, unless we have another drought situation, that's just going to keep on going. Grounds work, garden and grounds work were up a bit because we had to have some tree work. We've got some old trees right there by the walk, and they get snags on them, and we have to take them down, or we might have a problem. Collections and archives. This was again we got the money in 2022 situation, but most of that was spent on the shelving and the archives building in 2023. The museum store expense may seem rather low compared to the income, and that's because we received another $2,100 from Joan Brower through Center Foundation for additional printing. And it goes against the expenditure because we would have had to spend the money for another printing, but we got this money instead. The strange one of the miscellaneous expense that is kind of going the wrong way, the 664.13. What happened here? There were some miscellaneous expenses, but in 2022, we sent $840 to the IRS as an estimated penalty that we owed the IRS for a late filing on our 2021 Form 990. And we got the money back. So the $840 back wasn't income. It was, we just didn't have an expense anymore. So that's going away. And, okay. So do you want to go to the next one, Mary? This is just a recap of what we consider to be non-operating. As you can see, the numbers are coming across for mansion restoration in terms of income and expense. We did get a Happy Valley Adventure Bureau grant against which this is not the whole grant. The grant is still ongoing into 2024. But during 2023, this was a second Happy Valley Adventure Bureau grant that was awarded in 2023. And we did have income of $8,960 and expenses of $7,285. We had a lumber heritage grant awarded, and all of the expenditures of $5,000 occurred in 2023. We did not get the money until January 2024. So you'll see the income side next year. We did get donations for the Jackie Melander Fund to the tune of $10,500. We also received a legacy from the Wetzel family, which has been designated as non-operating and added as an investment for the Historical Society. And that's all I have.
Beverly, thank you. And now we'll go on to Ann Mullenbrock, who is our Budget and Finance Committee Chair. Ann?
Is Ann on mute?
Oh, I think Ann is on mute.
Ann, you'll have to start over.
I will start over. I'm sorry. Okay, the committee meets and reviews the current year operations, which is Beverly just did a very good job of that. And then we look ahead and anticipate what our activities will be for the coming year and determine what our budget is going to need to be and to estimate. And I'll just highlight a few things. I'd like to start with the expense section. And do you have that up, Mary?
Here you go, Ann.
There you go. Okay, we'll go down under the expense section. Okay, under operating expenses, the advertising expenditures down toward the bottom of that were very high, but they included those grants that Beverly talked about that were from a prior year. And so the actuals is a very inflated figure. So that's why. And we are going to limit a little bit of our advertising this year, not quite as heavy as we've done in the past. Okay. The printed materials, again, we had a lot of printed materials, and our newsletter is bigger too, but we upped it $2,000 from our estimated for last year and hope we cover it all. We'll see. Okay, if you go on to maintenance, that's up $3,000, and it's all because of lawn care. Simple as that. Everything else is pretty much the same. The operational expenses, I think, are holding pretty true. Our utilities, we left the same, but we're hoping because we have new windows that our heating bills won't be quite as bad, even though or maybe will stay the same, even though the cost will go up. But we'll do better there. We increased our insurance with renovations. We felt it was important that our insurance is adequate to cover. So that went up a little bit, and we increased salaries. And then the collections and archives that in the Ice House is completed, but we budgeted for a computer and a scanner for the Ice House. Are there any questions on those expenses? Okay. I'll go to the income section at the top of that, at the beginning of that report. And again, Beverly went over pretty much our income. We have 6 or 7 major income sources: the membership, the annual giving, center gives, investment distribution, grants, fundraising activities. And we thank all our members and donors for all their support. One of the other major increases, as Beverly noted, is the investment distribution. Quarterly, our investments distribute income they distribute the income from our investments, and it's a considerable increase this year compared to the past. We originally were getting around $2,000 a quarter, And this past year, it went up considerably. And then we received a bequest that added to our operating income investments. And so we anticipate that we'll get around $3,600 a quarter or more a quarter. So we budgeted $14,500 as compared to $8,000 the year before. So our total income comes out to approximately $172,700 and total expenses at $172,690. Any comments or questions?
And if I could, I'd like
Yes.
to add a comment of clarification under
Yes.
operating income. If you go all the way down to net fundraising activity, just to clarify things, because you see other fundraising activities such as annual fund and center gives, but this is basically fundraising event activity, and there are two of them: the plant sale in the spring and stocking stuffer in December. So that's what you see realized there under that column. Those two events combined netted 23,000 and change for us last year. So I just wanted to clarify that for everybody.
Thank you, Roger. That's a good point.
Thank you, Anne. Roger, would you like to go ahead with the motion to approve?
Yes, I would like to entertain a motion to approve the budget as presented, the proposed budget for 2024. Is there a motion?
I propose. I motion, I move.
Is there a second? We need a second. Jackie Esposito. Is there any discussion before we call for the vote? We do have the motion on the floor. Questions, concerns, observations? Not hearing any, then I would call for the vote, and I think Joanna will be putting the ballot on your screen. So that's the annual operating budget, which calls for expenses of $172,690. So please go ahead and vote. And after you vote, please submit it. So we have 95% of you approving the budget, nobody casting a negative vote, and 5% abstaining. So the annual operating budget for 2024 is accepted and approved by the membership. Thank you very much. And Mary, I think we're turning things back over to you again.
Oh, thank you, Roger, and thank you to Beverly and Anne for preparing these reports. We're going to turn now back to Deb McManus, our secretary, who will guide through the election of officers.
Okay. According to the bylaws of the Center County Historical Society, the Governance Committee is the acting nominating committee responsible for selecting and recommending a slate of candidates for approval by the Board of Governors. The Board of Governors then votes to accept that slate of candidates. If the slate receives a favorable majority vote, the slate is brought forward to this body for approval. Today, on behalf of the Governance Committee, I'm pleased to present the following slate of officers and governors as approved by the current board. I just want to say before we even get to a voting point, all of these nominees can be included in one vote. So we'll start with recommended for 3-year terms on the Board of Governors would be William Bill Blair and Rich Bundy. And the board recommended president and vice president for 2-year terms Roger Williams, President, Jacqueline Esposito, Vice President. We also have a recommendation for emeritus status for Robert Hazelton. It's our past president and vice president of the board. In order to declare this slate officially elected, is there a motion to approve the slate of governors as presented for the CCHS Board of Governors?
I move.
Can I have a second, please?
A second.
All right. Is there any discussion? All right. Johanna has put the poll up again so we can all vote. Please vote and submit your answer. Johanna will show us the results. According to the vote, we have a 90% yes approval for the candidates nominated, and a 10% of the voters abstain. So the slate has been accepted. So we welcome the new members, and happy to have everybody on board. Thank you. Mary, you're muted.
Roger, if you would like to say a few words.
Yes, I would also like to extend a special thanks before we get to this to Becky Dries for her service on the Board of Governors since 2022. Becky served as co-chair of the Stocking Stuffer Committee for 10 years and as chair of our new Human Resources Committee. Her own growing human resources business called Thrive HR is consuming much more of her time. And so Becky had to leave the board to devote more time to her business, but she is remaining as the chair of our Human Resources Committee. And for that, we're very thankful. And Bob, I think I've already mentioned how grateful we are for your long years of service on this board, for the research you've done, for the historical archaeology you've done, and for the writing you've done on a variety of topics, from Pennsylvania Furnace to the early Centre County airports in Bellefonte, around Bellefonte. And we appreciate your leadership as vice president, and also for stepping into the breach as president during the COVID epidemic and doing a wonderful job in view of all the constraints we had on our board during that period. So you've meant a lot to us, Bob, and you and Jan are now ensconced in your new home in Montoursville, as I recall. So we hope you'll continue to be involved as an emeritus member of our Board of Governors. So I think that's about it for now. We've done, I think, are we turning to the bylaws?
Yes.
At this point, Mary.
That's correct. Deb will be bringing forward the vote for our new 2024 revised bylaws.
By email, you received a copy of the 2024 revised bylaws and a copy of the bylaws as revised on January 26, 2021 for comparison. I hope everybody's had a chance to look those over. They were revised. The governance committee always looks at the bylaws as a fluid document. As our organization evolves and things change, we make sure that we update those bylaws. So hopefully everybody's had a chance to look at those. Roger, would you like to conduct the vote for that?
Sure. So we have basically revisions to our vision statement, our mission statement, and also the duties of three of the officers. So those are the only changes, as I recall, in our new bylaws. And I assume you have been able to take a look at them. And so, are there any questions, concerns, observations, comments? Hearing none, I would ask Joanna to put the ballot for approval of the revised bylaws of the Center County Historical Society. And you may vote yes, no, or you may abstain.
We need a motion. We need a motion.
Oh, of course we need a motion. Let's have a motion. Did I
I
see
move. I move. Bill Blair.
Bill Blair moves. Second? I can only see so many faces. So do we have a second in the?
I second.
Great. Okay, Ford Risley seconds. So now it's on the floor, and are there any questions, comments, or observations? Hearing none, I would ask you to vote to approve the bylaws revised as presented. Yes, no, or abstain. And then you would submit it. So please go ahead and vote.
I think that already happened, Roger.
Oh, did it?
We kind of got ahead of ourselves. Okay. Sorry about that.
So we're waiting for the results now, I believe. And there they are. 90% vote to accept. There are no negative votes cast and 10% abstained. So we have revised bylaws, and thank you very much. And that concludes that aspect of our business. And so I think that brings the business before us to a close, but we now want to transition to the year in review. And for that, Mary Sorensen is going to walk us through what has been, as I noted before, a historic year for the Center County Historical Society. So Mary, take it away.
Thank you, Roger. Here, let me get together here. As Roger said, 2023 was just another remarkably productive and remarkable year for the Center County Historical Society, with many accomplishments and activities. The Historical Society has significantly evolved, building, of course, on the legacy of our predecessors and unwavering support of our amazing Board of Governors, dedicated membership, volunteers, and friends. Your presence here today shows an enduring commitment to this organization that will be reflected in this presentation. Our CCHS Annual Fund and Membership Campaign have increasingly become the foundation of our operating budget, netting over $71,480 altogether during the 2023 campaigns. Thanks to membership co-chairs Roger Williams and Katie O'Toole for leading efforts to bring our 2023 membership campaign to record levels. At the conclusion of the 2023 membership campaign, we had 487 annual and 116 life memberships, totaling 603 households, representing 897 members, and generating $38,345, an increase of more than 20% over 2022. We are already off to a great start for 2024, having launched our membership campaign in early January and are nearly at last year's level already. In 2023, we added a new sustaining membership option for members starting at the $25 a month level and or $300 a year. And currently we have 27 sustaining members at $25 or $50 per month levels. You can actually increase your monthly membership level by reaching out to Johanna at our office. CCHS members and friends, in turn, increased philanthropy. The CCHS Annual Giving Campaign launched in October 2023, resulting in $33,135, a nearly 20% increase from the $27,247 raised in 2022. Your investment in membership and annual giving funds now comprise more than 40% of our operating budget. Again, we thank our membership committee led by Roger and Katie, along with Claire Gray and Johanna Sedgwick for their hard work on these efforts, and to our Development Committee Chair, Deb McManus, and the entire committee, and everyone who has joined as a member and or contributed to our annual giving campaign. Once again, members and friends turned out in record numbers to support the Historical Society during the Center Foundation's 2023 Center Gives online fundraiser, resulting in $21,122 directed to general operating. As was mentioned earlier, nearly $6,000 of this total was earmarked for the mansion's restoration work, bringing the amount generated to operating expenses to $15,122, a 15% increase over 2022's total of $12,848. Center Gives is set this year for May 8th and 9th, and we hope to reach a goal of $20,000 or nearly $12,000 of our 2024 operating budget. Grant funding enables the Historical Society to complete critical capital, marketing, and other projects that would otherwise be impossible for us to complete. In 2023, more than $61,000 in grant funding was awarded to help fund general operating costs, the second phase of mansion restoration work, radio, digital, and print advertising, and archival supplies. For 2023 grant funding, we are grateful to the Hamer Foundation, the Happy Valley Adventure Bureau, and the Center County Board of Commissioners, the Rotary Club of State College, and the Pennsylvania Historical and Museum Commission. In addition to generous grant funding, we thank businesses who generously contributed in-kind services or supplies to help offset the Historical Society's operating costs. In 2023 brought the long-awaited move of the Center County Historical Society's archival collection to their new space in a building behind the mansion called the Ice House, for the building that had been there historically. After 3 years of planning, sorting, painting, putting temporary location labels on boxes, and buying supplies, we assembled shelving, carried boxes down 3 flights of stairs, and shelved them based on our plan. Our collections management chair, Jackie Esposito, has been instrumental in helping us update our collections policies, working with intern Megan Kelby to get the Hamilton and other archival collections processed in this space, and working with researchers. This year, we are hoping to get up and running our public hours for researchers to come in. Researchers can always make an appointment to come in and view our archives, but we're hoping to have more consistent hours that they can do so. We're also going to be doing a lot of work in the kitchen garden area that leads to the archive space this year, and that will allow for more accessibility and general safety features in that area. The Historical Society hosted 5 talks in 2023, and we thank each one of our generous speakers for contributing a broad range of fascinating presentations that enrich our programming. We thank Ann Hamilton Hensley Pyle and Kenneth Pyle for underwriting their namesake Distinguished Author Series, and Ford Risley for coordinating the annual Encyclopedia Live History Talk as well. The plant celebration is a historical society and community tradition, now in its 28th year. Heartfelt thanks go to the Center Furnace Mansion Garden Committee, who works hard all year round to garden, plan, and prepare for this community favorite. We extend our gratitude to the gardeners who make this happen, and to the Master Gardeners of Center County for providing a question-answer table, and of course to all of our vendors who help make the plant celebration that much more special. Profits from the sale vary depending on the weather, but consistently we raise around $5,000, which helps a great deal with maintenance of our gardens and grounds. This year's sale will be on Saturday, May 11 from 9 to 2. So mark your calendar. It's just in time for Mother's Day, and we'll have the mansion open for touring that day as well. Each year, the Historical Society holds a volunteer reception for current volunteers and members that are interested in getting involved or would like to just help celebrate the amazing people who make the society work. Everyone who leans in here has an important role in the success of this organization and the many activities that we host throughout the year. Whether they serve on our board or a committee, lead tours, write articles for Mansion Notes or the encyclopedia, garden, help with fundraising events, or help out with our collections or office projects, we couldn't do this without them. And we're grateful for the time, talent, and hard work that they give every single day. After an extensive update of our Center County Explorers Passport and Driving Map, we held the first Center County Explorers Day last June. It included a 19th century tool demonstration featuring and tables featuring passport sites and tours of the Center Furnace Mansion. The event was attended by about 100 guests. One longtime resident said, "I had no idea there were this many amazing historic sites and museums in Center County." Added to our annual slate of activities now, this event will be held again this June on June 9th to kick off the summer staycation season. And we thank the Happy Valley Adventure Bureau and the Lumber Heritage Region for funding for these materials. The Historical Society will be partnering again with the Pennsylvania Department of Conservation and Natural Resources and the folks at Po Valley State Park and Bill and Mary Markham to hold the CCC Legacy Day about the legacy of the Civilian Conservation Corps. This year's event is going to be on Sunday, July 28th from 10 o'clock until 3 at Po Valley State Park. Plan to come and spend a day at Po Lake and enjoy interesting talks, music, and a period-inspired CCC lunch. We thank our sponsors, partners, and individuals who donate to help cover costs, and of course, the speakers who help us out with this program. The Society's signature stocking stuffer magical holiday market is its largest fundraising event, which was again held with great success last December. For that, we give special thanks to committee co-chairs Deb McManus and Becky Drees, and to Johanna Sedgwick, our marketing and events coordinator, for their months of planning and hard work that helps make the event run smoothly. We thank the 100 plus volunteers that made everything happen, from planning and setup and working during the event to cleanup and follow-up after the 4-day event. And we thank the talented artisans, crafters, and antique dealers who provide interesting products and displays that make the event what it is, a magical holiday market. Here are a few photos from the event. The United Way Day of Caring is held annually, and it's our largest service day of the year. We hosted over 200 volunteers in 2023 at the Mansion and at the Boogersburg School, representing 11 businesses and organizations and logging more than 800 volunteer hours in just one day. The estimated value of work and donated services and supplies is more than $11,000. Our garden committee and other CCHS volunteers, including our docents and others that lean in here, did an amazing amount of garden trail work and cleanup projects and work to help or make the day run smoothly. This service day helps us exponentially with maintenance projects and is a wonderful way to wrap up the garden season and introduce the mansion and the school to people who may not have visited there before. In addition to the Day of Caring, we extend our great thanks to 9 service groups in 2023, accounting for another nearly 150 volunteers throughout the year, representing more than 600 volunteer hours to help with a multitude of indoor and outdoor projects. CCHS has continued its partnership over the past year with the Penn State Landscape Architecture Department's Rethinking 322. In December, we co-hosted an event to bring together community leaders and stakeholders. Students from the fall studio class expanded on the ideas and research from the 2022 studio to identify actionable items for local advocacy organizations, governments, and other stakeholders to consider regarding PennDOT's proposed State College Area Connector project. Dr. Dan Marriott, a national expert on alternative transportation planning, challenges students to identify new opportunities to rethink 322 within the community. One of the goals of this meeting was to share awareness and discussion about the Connector project with community leaders and with PennDOT. The project is in the National Environment Policy Act, NEPA, state phase, and it continues to be important to gauge local advocacy groups and government about the project. We're very grateful to Dr. Marriott and the landscape architecture students who have dealt with this highly contentious topic with professionalism, civility, and respect as they've interacted with stakeholders and the public. By providing many possibilities for safe and sensitive solutions to the Connector project, the students have helped inspire potential visions and advocacy that could make a difference in protecting historical, cultural, and natural resources in the 322 corridor. The 22 Landscape Architecture 414 final student project is called Rethinking 322, Strategies for the Proposed State College Area Connector in Penn's Brush Valley. This is a booklet that can be found on our website at centerhistory.org/connector. Printed copies can be available upon request. A new resource booklet by the more recent 2023 Fall Studio will soon be available. The John H. Ziegler Historic Preservation Awards of the Center County Historical Society was held at the Match Factory in Bellefonte in January to recognize its 2023 award recipients. We thank the Center County government for their sponsorship of CNET recording. The awards featured 6 nominees who exemplify excellence in historic preservation. Nominees represent various corners of Center County and bring passion and hard work to their preservation efforts in Center County. We're honored to be able to shed light on the work that they do each year. If you would like to nominate an individual or project, nomination forms can be found on our website at centerhistory.org/awards. Encyclopedia co-editors Ford Risley and Lee Stout, along with 76 volunteer contributors, are the engine behind the Center County Encyclopedia of History and Culture on the CCH website, and they continue to be going strong. With 181 articles currently posted and counting, we thank everyone involved for a meaningful and growing project that chronicles the history in Center County. If you have an idea for an encyclopedia article, or if you would like to write one, please feel free to reach out to Ford or Lee. Johanna will put their emails in the chat area, but you can also get them by going to the website, centerhistory.org, and click on the encyclopedia tab. We received 23 collection donations altogether in 2023. Collections donations are meaningful additions that help us interpret Center County history and Center Furnace, and in some cases, Victorian culture. Donations can be archival materials, photographs, or objects. Here is a sampling of what we received last year, but there were a total, as I mentioned, of 23. Listings of donations are normally provided in the Mansion Notes newsletter. The still life oil by local 19th century artist Annie Snyder was given by Jackie Melander, and the glass goblets attributed to Governor James Adams Beaver, given by Mary Lou Bennett, can be seen on display at the Center Furnace Mansion in the dining room. And the State College Centennial Period walking dress, well, you never know where you're going to see that next. This was a collections donation meant for occasional use. 2023 marked the completion of major exterior restoration of the Center Furnace Mansion. It began back in 2019 with extensive preparation to develop the scope of this project led by architect Alan Popovich of AP Architects and property chair on our CCHS Board of Governors. Following this, with a lead gift in hand from Life member Joan Brower, we applied to the Pennsylvania Historical and Museum Commission for a Keystone Construction Grant of $100,000. This would set the pace for a successful fundraising effort through a pandemic. Phase 1 and 2 adhered to the Secretary of the Interior's standards for the treatment of historical properties with the whole restoration. Phase 2 work began with Anders Olsen, construction and renovations, and his able crew in the fall of 2022, beginning with shutter removal. Once this was completed, the window sashes from the mansion's 47 windows were removed in batches and restored off-site to help keep the project on schedule. With a great deal of work, the sashes were carefully stripped using infrared technology, and detailed sanding followed with priming and painting. Once dry, they were rehung so that the mansion could, in batches again, so that the mansion could have natural light in most areas during this time. Work on and off site continued in April. With the shutters complete at this point, work began on the brick exterior of the mansion and stripping and priming window frames and their hardware. You can see here the blue primer on the windows where the brick was scraped. The arduous work of preparation and painting of the mansion continued here through May. The level of care taken by Anders Olsen Construction and Renovations was amazing, extraordinary, really, with each detail. In June and July, it was exciting when work finally began on the east or back side of the mansion. Scaffolding was placed strategically to reach windows above the porch. Here's a photo of Anders Olsen's crew putting the final details on the west porch. Much needed restoration work on the springhouse was added to the scope when we knew funds would be available to do so. Here you can see the windows and replacement inserts and the major work that would need to be done to repair the doorway. Phase 2 was substantially completed in early November 2023. We continue to be thankful every day that this critical work could be completed. Here you can see a close-up of the shutter and hardware detail and shots of each elevation. One item that remains are the very custom 3 arched storm windows that will go on the mansion's front gables. And it should be said that throughout all of this, we really did keep pressing on. It was an amazing project and people were excited to be around it. In November, a reception was held to celebrate this generational restoration, attended by Glenn Thompson, our 15th District Congressman, and 82nd District Representative Paul Takak, and the Center County Board of Commissioners Chair Mark Higgins, Vice Chair Amber Concepcion, and Commissioner Steve Dersham. Also in attendance were board members from the Hamer Foundation, Patrick Morris and Jennifer Shuey, members of our own CCHS Board of Governors, and several of our members and donors that supported this project. This is the listing of the amazing people that supported this project, and this is posted at the Center Furnace Mansion for anyone who would like to see it. This major work would have been impossible without major funding from grantors and individual donors. For both phases of the mansion's restoration, 4 granting agencies and 215 donors contributed nearly $600,000, the whole thing. We still have a balance left that we'll be using to continue to do repair work on the mansion and surrounding kitchen garden. We are grateful beyond words. It was a major undertaking that we couldn't have done without all of you and without Ellen Popovich leading the way. As we've said before, located at the gateway of State College and Penn State, this Iron Masters Mansion stands as a testament to 2 of the most important economic and development facets of Center County history: the 18th century origins of the iron-making industry and the 19th century founding of the Pennsylvania State University. It is a community treasure, and its preservation is an obligation and an honor that the Historical Society embraced when accepting this property in 1978. For those interested, Phase 1 of the mansion's restoration is detailed on the 2022 annual meeting video that can be found on the Center County Historical Society's website, centerhistory.org, by clicking on the Who Are tab and then clicking on Annual Meeting. Another milestone for the Historical Society in 2023 came in the early hours of November 1st. Thanks to the hard work of Roger Williams and staff members from the Penn State Alumni Association, a marker was created and placed securing Center Furnace Mansion's place as the birthplace of Penn State. We were excited and grateful to have President Neely Bendapudi to lead the dedication of this wonderful occasion on a cold but sunny day in early January. We have several activities coming up, as you can see here. Our events are listed on our website, homepage, centerhistory.org. To add to this, we'll be working on our scope for restoration and landscape work at the Boogersburg School this year, and we'll also be working on our kitchen garden area, as I mentioned, behind the mansion, to make the archival collection now in the Ice House building there more accessible for public use. We'll be reporting on this and more in the coming months. We thank all of you who keep the Center County Historical Society a vital organization and help in the stewardship of the Center Furnace Mansion and Boogersburg School. And I would like to also thank our marketing and events coordinator, Johanna Sedgwick, who helps keep all of the wheels turning here at the mansion with me. If any, are there any questions in chat, Johanna? Let's see. No, okay, all right. With that, Roger, would you like to make the motion to adjourn the meeting?
I would. Just one point of clarification for our members. When you talk about the phase 2 of the Center Furnace Mansion restoration, the the main contractor, Anders Olson, who Mary referred to, is local. He is his firm is located in Center Hall. Just to point out that whenever we can, we try to direct our money to Center County vendors and suppliers. Failing that, Central Pennsylvania. Failing that, Pennsylvania. Failing that, the United States of America. But we do try to spend, we take pains to spend Center County Historical Society monies on local vendors and suppliers. So with that, are there any questions for the good of the order? Comments, observations from anybody who has shared their afternoon with us? We're grateful for your tuning in. Hearing none. Are you hearing anything, Mary? I'm not.
I don't think so.
And I would entertain a motion for adjournment. Is there a motion for adjournment? You all have enjoyed it so much, you don't want it to end.
So moved.
There's a motion out there. I'm sure there is. Is there a second? Yes,
Second.
I see.